Welcome back to another automation breakdown where we break down automated solutions for your business needs. I'm your host, Chris. When you make a Power App, it's not like everyone can access it instantly. You need to set those permissions for each user to be able to access that Power App. One of those things that keeps coming up a lot is how do I automate access to my apps? And well, let's go over that today. Here's the inventory for all of my different Power Apps, and specifically the one that's highlighted is my FTE requisition request app. Normally, you would go into the three dots, click on share, and start sending it to your varying people that need access to the app. Right now, if I click on manage access and even go to use classic sharing, you'll see, well, no one has access to it right now. However, I just ran the flow that automates access to the app. So if I go to this page, refresh it, go back into the three dots, share, manage access. Right here, you don't really see anyone, but if you go over to the three dots, use classic sharing, you will see Peter Parker added to there. I did not manually do that. That was all in automation. I know it didn't look like I was not doing anything, but I really wasn't doing anything because the automation did take over. It is very hard to explain on a video. Let's hop into Power Automate. From the homepage of Power Automate, let's go over to create, and we have a few different options to start our trigger. The one we will be working with today is Instant Cloud Flow. However, I will change this up later on in the video and we will do an automated cloud flow. Let's click on Instant Cloud Flow, give our flow a name. Let's click on manually trigger a flow and smash the create button like you were going to smash like button. I don't have a good explanation for why I always say that, but let's jump into it. With the blank Power Apps page, let's click on the trigger and I'm going to add an input, and this will be a text input. I'll change this over to our email. We can enter in our email of our user prior to this running. After the trigger, the next action we will add is get user profile. Under Office 365, get user profile, and let's add the email from our main trigger. So let's go over to Lightning Bolt, the dynamic content, search up email, and you'll see email, please enter your input. Boom. Let me go ahead, click on save, and let's see what's happening in the background with this automation so far. I'll click on test. We will manually perform this test, and at the bottom, let's click on test. Now what happens is Power Automate now recognizes we need an input. And so for this, I will need an email to input. So I'm entering in Peter Parker at thecooliabrand.onmicrosoft.com, and let's run. Our trigger now housed that email. So let's go to show raw output. And at the very bottom here, if it's hard to see, you can see peter.parker at thecooliabrand.onmicrosoft.com. This was the body that we had manually told Power Automates to perform, which then went into our get user profile. And let's show raw output. Right now we have this information in the body of Peter Parker's email address, at least according to the M365 package. And what we're going to use throughout this video is the ID. This is Microsoft's ID based on the email account. All right, enough of that. Let's go back into edit mode and let's add in our next action, our edit app role assignment. And you'll see under Power Apps for Makers, edit app role assignment. Let's add that action in. This action is all that we are going to need in order to dynamically add in users into our Power App. So the first thing it asks for is our Power App name. I need to add some emphasis on this. This is not the name of the app, the FTE requisition request app. That's not the name of the app.
I'm waiting!
What we need to do, however, is go over to the three dots, go to our details, and these are the actual details of the app. And what Power Automate is specifically looking for is under App ID, this whole string of numbers, that's the Power App name that it needs to recognize. So I'm just going to copy this whole thing right here, boom, copy, and paste that into Power App name. Now, one call out when using Power Automate and you're pasting items into Power Automate, click outside of it, click back into the action, and you'll notice this erroneous space right here. So let's delete that out. Everything else right here, we do not need to touch or edit. However, let's go over to advanced parameters and let's use the body slash put. Now we can add a new item, and this new item will be the user's details that we want to add into the permissions of the app. So let's click on add new item, and you'll see all the requirements that Power Automate requires in order for us to slot that person's name into the permissions of the app. So principal email, principal tenant ID, principal ID, principal type, notification, share, get option, and role name. We will go over each one of these. So principal email, this one's fairly easy. It's the email of the user that we want to add to the permissions. So let's go to the lightning bolt. I will search up mail. You can enter in the email from our trigger, or you can add in the mail from the get user profile. Either way works. Now the principal tenant ID, this is the Azure Entra ID, the tenant ID. It basically identifies which Microsoft tenant owns the user. So which company, think of the company that you're at. Which company does this user work at? And the easy way to get the tenant ID of the user, let's go over to the URL, and you'll see right after default dash, this is actually the way to get the tenant ID. And it's everything from the dash all the way to the forward slash. So I'll just basically copy all of that and boom, paste that in there. Easy, done, dusted. You can also get the tenant ID from the admin page within Microsoft. However, I know as a lot of us are citizen developers, we don't really have access to the admin center. So kind of use the URL or get it from the admin center, whichever you desire. Now, the principal ID is the ID of the user, what I said before when we ran that test flow. So let's go over to our dynamic content. I will search up ID, and from our get user profile action, we have our ID. Now the principal type, this is the type of the user, and most people will fall under user if you just manually type in user. The other options that you can use are group. These will be for group emails, and you can use tenants within this field. However, that's going to be organization-wide access. So think everyone in my company will have this. Again, most people won't be using tenant. Most people, I believe, will be using user. The notify share target option, this is a drop down and it gives you the two options of do not notify and notify. Personally, I prefer the do not notify. This is notifying the end user that they now have permission to your Power App. If you want to notify them, by all means, set this to notify. I don't like sending those extra emails saying that they have permission, even though they just requested it. So, I mean, again, to each their own. And then finally, role name. This is probably the most important field in this whole action, and I would normally set this to can view, no spaces in there, can view. What this allows the user to do is run the app and use the app. They cannot edit the app, they can't share the app, they can't modify any of the permissions. This is kind of like that standard end user permissions level. Another option you can use is can view with share. So this allows the user to run the app and share the app, but it does not allow the user to edit the app. And the last option that you can put in the role name of this free text area is can edit. This basically gives the user co-owner type abilities so they can edit the app, they can publish it, modify the app settings, even share the app. But I prefer doing can view. Again, that's kind of like that standard default for most people when you're sharing to those other people. That's kind of like the standard. That's pretty much it for giving access. Let's go test it, and then I'll show you how to delete someone's access. So let me go ahead and save, and let's test this out. So let's manually perform this test, and then Power Automate asks me to enter in an email. With the email entered, let's go ahead and run the flow. And you can see Power Automate is thinking, 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 and then within a couple of seconds, it should light up green. Oh God, my timing was off on that. There we go. It's green. Cool. All done. It took 14 seconds, but it happened.
A wizard is never late, Frodo Baggins. Nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
Back inside of Power Apps, let's go over to the three dots, click on Share, and Manage Access. Now, right away, you can see Cassie Lang is right here. However, if you do not see your user right there, if you're still questioning things, click on the three dots, go over to Use Classic View, And now you can see all three people there, Cassie Lang, myself, and Peter Parker. We all have permission to use this app. Okay, so now we've automated giving people access into the app. They now have permission to use the app. How do you take it away from them? So let's go back into our Power Automate and I'll show you how to configure that. Let's go back over to Edit and I'm going to change some things up. So let's go over to our manually trigger a flow and I'm going to add another input text right here, and this will say our status. Right after our get user profile, I'm going to add an action, and this will be from our control and condition. Let's add in the condition. On the left side of choose a value, I will add in from our lightning bolt, and this will be our status. Right here, manually trigger a flow, status is equal to, and I will say access. If it equals access, give them access. Boom. If not, inside of this false parameter, I will click on the plus icon, add in another Power Apps for Makers edit app role assignment onto the, again, inside of the false parameters. I'm just going to copy some of the elements from our edit app role assignment from the true section. And under advanced parameters, under showing, let's go over to body/delete. And now we can add a new item right here. And this is a lot easier. Role ID of user. So this one will be, let's go over to the lightning bolt, click on ID, search for ID, and then under get user profile, you get ID. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's literally the whole thing to delete someone's access. Let's go ahead and save this. Test it out, manually test it. Great. The email will be Cassie Lang again, and the status I just set to delete. So let's go ahead and run this flow. You can see it's thinking, thinking, thinking. Hopefully my timing is better this time. Nope, I was so late on that one. It now deleted her out. I've refreshed the page on Power Apps. Let's go over to FTE Requisition Request app. Click on the three dots, go to Share, Manage Access. First of all, Cassie's name no longer there. And just to be sure, let's go over to Use Classic Sharing and you should only see Peter Parker and myself. How I use this in real life with my live Power Apps is I will have a user access list connected to my Power Apps. And what this is doing is basically when a person is added to this list, then give them permission to the app. And so we're going to set that up here. You see person and we have status. So person is inside of column settings. This is actually a person or group column type. So this will have access to the Microsoft 365 user database. And then the status column here, let's go over to column settings, edits, and you'll see I have the two choices, access or delete. Back inside the flow that we've been building this whole time, I will delete this trigger and we are going to add in a different trigger when an item is created or modified. Either way, this flow will run, even if someone just modifies it. I've added in my site address. Let me go find that list. User access list. This get user profile, let me go and rearrange some of this. So this will be from the person, and you'll see person email. This comes from that person column, which displays person claims, person display name, person email. Again, we're going to use this. Person picture. Let's use person email. The condition, I'm going to delete out this status and we are going to choose, I'm going to search in status and choose the status value. That's going to need to equal to access in order for us to use the edit app role. Nothing else in the edit app role changes. And then inside the edit app role, assignment 1 here, again, nothing else changes. However, this is us deleting out a user. So when they set this to delete, I'm going to delete item. So let's go over to SharePoint, delete item. We're actually just going to delete this all out. Site address, let me add that in. List name, this is our user access list. And then the ID, this will come from our when an item is created or modified action. And let's add in the ID. Let me go ahead, click on save, and let's go over to the list and we'll start using it. So from here, I will add a new item. And I'm going to skip the title, and this will be access. The person, this is going to be John Smith. And let me go ahead and save. I will also add Cassie back. She's back in my good graces because she hit the thumbs up button. Boom, Cassie Lang. Let's save. You see, one of them did fail, and that's, I think, because I didn't set up Cassie's email within my company. It looks like she did not hit the like button after all. And somehow it's saying that there's a blank value here. But Johnny, however, he did get permission. John Smith at the Kuya brand was there inside of the ID and he gained permissions. Let's go back over to our permissions. So share, manage access. You see Johnny right here. Again, let's go over to use classic sharing. You will see myself, Peter Parker, and Johnny all there. And now I'm going to edit in grid view. For Johnny, I'm going to change his access from access to deletes, exit grid view, and you'll see, oop, here we go. 5 seconds ago, this flow was running. And what happened is we set Johnny's status to delete. So under the false section, we deleted out his permissions and then we deleted out the item altogether, which now as I refresh the page on Microsoft Lists, he is no longer there and he no longer has access to our app. Aside from me not setting up Cassie's email right within my systems, I'm trying to make a few fake employees in my company. Aside from that, everything else ran smoothly. We're able to give out permission to both Cassie, Johnny, and Peter. All of them were able to get access. We were also able to delete their access. Now it's a fully dynamic page. And a really good cheat to do this is to connect it to your employee roster. That way, it is a total hands off experience. So the app is literally running off of the employee roster and it'll delete people as they leave the company and it will enable them as they start to arrive at the company. I've also got some more videos and topics in the pipeline, so that'll be dynamically sharing SharePoint lists, as well as this video was the app itself. And so, more to come. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I will see you in the next video.